Hi folks and modelers. So today I'm gonna bring you a past build showcase on science fiction and animation stuff. And the reason why I wanted to bring you this is because since my last video was on the Madness of the Street, Luna and Selena, which is something from the animation. So just before I move away from this subject of science fiction, I thought I show you a little bit of my collections and some science fiction stuff, mostly Gundam stuff, and also some other science fiction kits that I've made along the way throughout my life. So just before I go through these kits with you, I just wanted to show you that these are all the instruction manuals that I have actually kept throughout the years and years of modeling. So it's a lot of these things I don't even have the kits anymore. They didn't survive throughout the years. Probably it was thrown out, or I don't even remember, because these are all the things from from back in even the 70s, 80s, 90s. For example, like this one, this is something from the animation called the Gunpla. So this was animation back in the 80s, and there were kits like these released during that time, and I managed to make it. So and some I don't even remember, and these kits, they appeal a lot to children, I believe, because I was interested in these kind of things when I was a kid. And a lot of these are all just Japanese animation stuff. For example, like this is a Macross, which I think it's quite popular, and I think most people who are into the animation world might know this. Like this one, this is from Macross. It's so this is the kit. I remember building this, but I don't have the kit anymore. So this one is another diagram stuff. So of course I'm not gonna go through all of these things with you, but these are just I have seriously a lot. I have made so much kits back when I was a kid, and these are the early days Gundam kits. It is also from Bandai, but this is something back from the 80s. And I do have one kit that survived, which I will show you in a bit. And back in the 80s, those kits were really, if you look at it now, it looks even like a toy. In fact, this is one of the kits from the 80s. It's simple. It has no polycaps. It's just joints by plastics. Not much articulation. So it didn't look good, but for kids back in the 80s, I think these were something to have. And as Bandai, I think evolved, they just got so much better. And these in fact, these instruction manuals are the perfect grades by Bandai at 160 scale. This will be the 144 scale high grade Universal Century, which is not so bad, but not as detailed as the master grades. So they have the high grade, master grade, and then this real grade came out maybe, I don't remember, maybe 10 years ago, which is also a 144 scale, but it has so much detail and articulation compared to the high grade kits. So if you look at this, for example, this kit is the Zaku, and if you look how it can be posed, you know, the articulations are superb. It has an inner frame, and but it's really small compared to the master grades, which is like this one at 100 scale. And so let me just put these manuals aside. So this is the master grade, and even master grades for, especially for this RX-78, the RX-178 Mark II, they have so many versions of this. For example, this is the version 2, they have the version 1, and every time they released it, it just keeps evolving, and you know, they just get better in terms of like articulations, details. Just, you know, it's just endless kind of upgrades on these kits. So let me just show you the kits over here that I have displayed. I do have more, but I decided to just show you, you know, the ones that I think which are worth showing. So like this one is the real grade. So this is the older master grade Gundam, but this one did not have so much articulation, and especially the legs doesn't bend that much. So this one I have done some modifications, but because of the modification I cannot, you know, change the positioning of this leg. These are all glued together. So comparing to the newer master grades like this one, in fact this is not new also, but this has a better articulation. And for this kind of kits, I've added some accessories here, which actually these are some military kind of accessories, and these are the bullets for the Gatling gun. So I made it look like it is going into this gun. This is actually from the kit, but this is not part of the kit. So you can do so much things to this kind of kits. Play around with it, with other things, military things. And this is the Mark II version 2, at 100 scale. So this is probably the second Mark II that was released under master grade. So if you look at the legs, it's really poseable. And then this one is the Sazabi. So this is the first one, and I know there's a second one released which looks way much better than this. And I'm letting this Sazabi hold something like a shotgun, which is actually not part of the kit. So there's another one here. Gundam kits can be painted or even built without painting, and they're really easy to build. So this RX-78 this is probably version maybe 1.5, which is looks better than the version 1, which came out in the 90s. So this kit is not even painted at all, if I'm not mistaken, or maybe some parts are painted, and the rest are all use the panel line weatherings. And also let me just run through all the Gunpla kits first, then we'll come to the other science fiction stuff. So this one is actually a resin kit having the master grade inner frame. So this kit is seriously heavy because all these parts are solid resin parts and not plastics like the others. So this kit actually is not movable, it's quite static because it will start falling off. And then this is the S100 Gundam, the Centennial series. So this is all painted, I believe. And then the last huge one I have here is the this one is called the Plan. I have the instructions here. It's called the Plan 303E Deep Striker. So this is the last Gundam kit that I made. This was, I think, just back in maybe 2017 or 2018. So I just had to make this because I've been waiting for this kit since back in maybe in the 90s, and Gundam finally released this in master grade. So I just had to build this one, and it's really huge. It's some kind of a striker type of Gundam. It has no legs and it has arms but not legs. So I painted this thing, and but it's so big that, you know, there's no place to put this. So I think that was my last Gundam. And in fact, if it wasn't for this kit, I would not have built another Gundam. I have actually grown out of Gundam kits because I just can't keep up with their releases, and also somehow could be because I'm older. I'm more into military standard, more typical kind of plastic models which use glues and putties, sanding, instead of these Bandai kits which you almost never use putty because the fits are just too perfect. So this is the smaller version of the RX-178 Mark II. So I don't think I will be building any more Gundam kits unless they come up with something that I really, just have to build. So my Gundam days are over. That was the last one that I built, and all these were built back in the 90s and maybe late 90s to year 2005 probably, and also back in the 80s when I was a kid. So here there is some science fiction stuff. So this one is something from the animation called the MAK. Some people might know this. This is also quite popular, And this was released by Nitto, but most of these kits now are done by Hasegawa, or it's definitely not Bandai, but these kits require glue and it's not a snap kit. But this was the earlier release by Nitto. So there are a full range of these kind of weird science fiction stuff, but I've only made this and another one, the small one, can't remember the name. And also I was at one time I was into this, but now I'm way past over it. And then this is I think everybody knows this. It's a Snowmobile Star Wars kit, and this is actually from finemold. Finemold used to be the Star Wars kit maker at one point of time, but now everything's taken over by Bandai. And earlier days, of course, maybe like Revell or some other maker were making it. So I used to be a Star Wars fan, especially when I was a kid. But the recent Star Wars, I am definitely not a fan anymore. I just can't keep up with all these new movies and the new type of the ships and things like that. The Bandai Star Wars kits are quite interesting. They are probably snap fit, like the Millennium Falcon, the Star Destroyer. I was tempted to make those, but never got a chance to actually build it. So this is a typical plastic model, requires glue, not snap kit. Painted this, so you can see Luke Skywalker in there. This was probably somewhere back in 90s maybe, or late 2000. But there is a year on it, says 2009, so okay, so it's not in the 90s. I'm not sure when I built this. Could be the 2010 era. So this is the only Star Wars kit that I've ever built. I do have some collection of the smaller Star Wars from Bandai, but I never made it. I just bought it and kept it. So okay, so these are all the Gunpla science fiction Star Wars stuff that I have. In fact, I do have more, but I'm not gonna be showing it here. They are not easy to move around. Things starts dropping off. So this is my past build showcase on all my science fiction collection. So I hope you enjoyed this video, and then after this I will be going back to my typical regular plastic model builds and reviews on kits, mainly on ship and military stuff. So stay tuned for those. It's coming up, and give a thumbs up and subscribe if you like this. So stay tuned. I'll be back very soon for another review. So cheers for now and happy modeling. Bye.